Hello, I would like to welcome you back on my channel. Today's video is going to be my second video about depression. In the first video, I will link it for you down below. I was talking about how you can deal with your depression. And in this video, this is gonna be, you might say, a second part to the first part video, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to watch the first video and then watch this one. This is a video on itself, and you can easily watch this video and not to watch the second video. It's totally up to you. And so first, also, I would like to also tell you, if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. I post every Sunday. I post topics from self-help and psychology. So if this is something that is interesting for you, then I would be really glad if you subscribe. So this video also is for you if you didn't find answers for your questions in my first video, as I already said. And so now, this is basically kind of the first step that I would recommend to anybody who suffers from a depression, um, and that is that I'm gonna give you an example, actually, example from a real life. Imagine a person. This person can be you, or it can be like an whoever. Imagine a person who's like getting up uh, from bed in the morning, and they're feeling that they're gonna have a depression, or they even already have depression. They feel really heavy getting up and going to work. Maybe the weather isn't so good, they don't want to go out to their work, and they just want to stay home and roll in their bed all day, and they don't have energy to do anything, but they have to go to work. And so this person, imagine this person, they're just going to work, and they're kind of holding it together somehow, and they kind of deal because they have to. They kind of like work all day, and everything is like moderate depression. But then they come home and they feel really drained out of all the energy. They feel really exhausted. Not that the day in work would be so exhausting for them. Maybe it wasn't even an exhaustive day in work. Maybe they are exhausted just because they were so depressed, and their mood was so low, and their energy therefore dropped really low. They didn't have this energy to go and be active in the day. And so since they had to keep it to themselves and kind of put up this face, this happy face, depends where they are working. So now they came home double exhausted, not just because of the depression itself, but also because of having to put up some face. And so now they go home and they kind of lock themselves in their room, and they don't do anything for the rest of the day. Maybe they watch some TV and they just stare at the TV. Maybe they don't even know what's on, and they're just depressed. And maybe the next day it gets a little better, but maybe not. But they somehow have to function. They have to go and do their work. So if you imagine this person, if this is something that you can relate to, then I actually have something for you here, which I think is excellent. In my personal opinion, this is the best thing ever you can do when you have depression. Because usually I believe that what happens when you have depression is that maybe you feel like that there is a way out. Maybe you feel like that there is some light at the end of the tunnel, but you just don't know how to get there. And so you are depressed, and you kind of get into this habit. Maybe you've heard about it already somewhere. It's I think it's rather well known, but it may be only my opinion. And this habit is called It's called rumination. Basically, what it means is that you kind of ruminate, or you think endlessly about the potential sources of your depression. You roll it around in your head. You endlessly think about it. You think about, why am I so depressed? Why I can't get out of bed? Why I feel so heavy? Why I feel so drained? I hate my job. I don't feel good in my relationships. I don't feel good with other people. I just want to be by myself. Nobody understands me, and all these things. And this is kind of like a movie that starts to play in your head, as if you press play and it just goes, and it has, maybe you even feel like it has a life on its own. On one hand, you might feel like, well, if you think about it, then maybe you will find some solution to your problems. You just can't help but think about it, and you just keep playing this terrible depressive movie in your head. And this whole time you are doing it because you feel like you're going to find a solution to it, but you maybe know somewhere deep inside of you that you're just not going to find a solution, and this is just a spiral. This is this negative spiral that's just going to put you down and lower and lower and lower, and it's just going to drain in your depression more and more and more. And more you ruminate about it, the worse it actually gets. But once this movie starts to play in your head, it's really difficult to get out of it. And so now I actually have some alternative for you instead of rumination, because there is actually a better thing you can do, and there is actually a way how you can deal with this in a better way, still trying to understand it but differently. And to illustrate this, I'm going to read you a quote. This by Carl Jung, which is a really famous psychologist, and he wrote some excellent books. I really highly recommend them. Whatever you read from him, well, it depends on your personal preference. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to talk about him. I want to talk about this concept here. And this is actually a quote that is my most favorite from him. Up until now, maybe in the future when I will develop myself more, maybe I will start liking some of his other quotes better. But the truth is that this, in at like a present time, this is my most favorite quote, and I think it's really good. So now I'm gonna click on my screen and I'm gonna read it to you. So please listen. If I if I figure it out, I will maybe put a text in here somewhere so that you can look at it, because if you keep looking at it for a longer time, maybe it will be better. But I don't know. I don't want to make promises. So I'm just going to read it. It's not that difficult. So, depression is like a woman in black. If she turns up, don't shoo her away. Invite her in, offer her a seat, treat her like a guest, and listen to what she wants to say. Let it kind of sink in a little bit. This actually is not a synonym for rumination. This is actually something else. Because if you ruminate, you're just endlessly playing this sad movie in your head. While if you do this, you actually take the depression as an opportunity to discover something about yourself which you may be buried deep down inside of you. You can discover some issue which is recurrent in your life. It just keeps getting up and up, and sometimes I even feel like when you have a depression, it almost feels like something, your mind or your soul or whatever it is trying to tell you something. And if you just keep being like sad because you have depression and you feel like this is this horrible thing, then you kind of don't see this. It is much better to approach depression in this way, in constructive way. If Because I believe that if you have depression, there's like a high chance that you are very sensitive, and I don't have like any psychological backup for this, but anytime I met anybody who had depression, these were usually really sensitive and intelligent people that were just thinking too much. So chances are, if you think too much, since as I described this concept is you ruminate, then you will be able to be really introspective and really analytical about your issues. So you should use this ability of yours to your benefit. And how you can actually do this is it's kind of contained in the quote, you know, because when he says here that depression is like a lady, imagine that a woman in black is going to come visit you and you can talk to her and you can find out what she has to say, you know. And you can actually do this also by using another technique which I really like, and it's contemplation. So basically, what you can do is that you can really ask yourself, why are you really depressed? Why are you really depressed? Write this question on a piece of paper and then try to think about it. Think about it, but not in a way that you are playing some movie. Try to go really to the root, really deep, and try to ask yourself what are the issues that are causing your depression. Even if you feel like at first that it's going to be some surface level issue, then don't stop there. Just go deeper. Even you can even write it down. You can write down, I'm depressed because I'm never gonna feel better. For example, this is like when you have really, really bad depression. This is maybe something that you're gonna feel like. I feel depressed because I'm never gonna get better. Then you can write this sentence down and then you can think about it. Why are you never gonna feel better? Or what is holding you back from feeling better? Are there any things in your life which are constantly putting you back, which are constantly dragging you into depression? Because I'm I don't want to say it like this because I know that it's always internal, you know. Some external things can always like influence you, or you might think that they're influencing you. They can, but it's always like the how you feel. It comes from the inside. So you should always keep this in mind, even if you will feel like, oh, I'm depressed because I don't have like money, or I'm not rich, or something like that. You know, because usually when you start thinking about this more deeply, even if this would be your answer, you are depressed because you live in some, maybe you live in some apartment which you don't like, maybe you feel like you have to go to this work which you don't like. But actually what I saw a lot in people with depression was that yes, they were depressed a lot when they had to go to work, but they were equally depressed when they were on vacation, which is really interesting thing. Maybe you notice this in yourself as well, that it's not like you are like shiny happy when you have vacation. If you are really depressed, then you are going to be very depressed also on vacation, because suddenly you will have all this time to ruminate. So really ask yourself really deeply. Go to the core of the depression, you know. Ask yourself, how are you spending your days? Are you doing some activities which you really enjoy, or are you doing only things which you don't like, and why? Are you happy to be in the moment? Can you enjoy a good food? Can you enjoy good music? When are the moments that make you happy? Um, is it because maybe you will also find out that you are depressed because you're just not grateful for the things you have, for for your health, for your decent lifestyle, for everything that you have, for your bed even, that you know. um I know that these statements, I don't really like them, you know. When you are depressed and somebody tells you that you should be grateful for the things you have, it's just not helpful. That's why I told you about the contemplation. I think that contemplation is actually much better way than trying to make yourself feel grateful. I think it will come, the being grateful part, it will come, but maybe not immediately, maybe later. It's better to first understand the root and then heal yourself like that. And then maybe you will become grateful for things you got. And actually, I would recommend this contemplation for you to do it every single day. You know, this question, ruminate, not, sorry, not ruminate over it, but try to understand, try to do this as an kind of like you are inspector, you are a detective, and you're trying to like figure it out and get to the bottom of it. Like this is an adventure, and you are trying to get in deep into your psyche and really try to figure this stuff out. And when you figure the source, then you can start thinking about what you can do with it. But it's you're gonna be on a whole another level, because when you are gonna actually know what you're dealing with exactly, then that's a whole another level from just being depressed and just thinking that everything is hopeless. You're gonna actually start to seeing it more constructively, and you're gonna raise higher to another level when you're actually going to be thinking about a specific practical thing, how to help yourself. And if you do this contemplation every day, I would recommend, if you write it on a piece of paper, then I would recommend do this for like, I think it would be really nice if you manage to do it for 20 minutes every day until you figure it out. So it's not like you have to do this every day for the rest of your life, but every day until you figure it out. 20 minutes, but not more. Because if you do it more, then I'm really worried that you're just gonna get back to rumination. You have to take this as this task that you're doing right now for like couple minutes, and then you're done. And you have it settled. Then you go on with your day, you do other things, and this all these things that you contemplated are just gonna settle. And the next day you're going to contemplate again, but don't contemplate and don't read if you wrote a lot of stuff. I wouldn't even recommend writing it down. Like, if you even wrote something down, it should be just points. But if you wrote a lot of stuff, don't spend the next day reading your stuff. This is not how it works. Every day you should actively contemplate, and if you can, then use what you came up with the previous day, use it as a base to contemplate more deeply. But contemplate every day. Don't read your notes, or it's not anything like that. It's really just uh, contemplating every day. And if you do this, there's really high chance that you will understand why the depression is coming. And as much as you're just gonna understand why this woman in black, why she came to visit you, just as she came, she's just gonna turn away and she's gonna slowly go. It's gonna be literally, it's gonna be like this. She's just gonna turn away and go, and maybe after some time you're gonna feel like that you remember what it was like, but she just went away and she's not coming back the way she was. Maybe you will be sad again, maybe there are going to be things that are going to bother you, but all in all, you're just going to develop. And this is actually something that I would recommend to you. Just work on yourself continuously. See this as a lifetime work, not only to get you out of depression, but trying to grow yourself as a person. Because this is really powerful. You're going to feel better and better with every day, and you're going to heal yourself. And so this is all for today's video. I hope I managed to explain this concept to you. If you have any question whatsoever about contemplation or anything that is connected to this, please ask me in the comments below. I will be really happy to answer you. Or even if there are going to be enough comments, I will make a follow-up video. It doesn't matter. Um, just ask, because I don't have actually any comments, so I'm definitely gonna notice your comment. if you ask it. So yeah. And also, I said it at the beginning, but I'm saying it again. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, or share it, or subscribe to my channel, because I'm posting regularly every Sunday. And yeah, so that's everything from me. And have a nice now. And I will see you next time. Bye.